But not all heroes have capes, or even funny hats. They may not have halos or bring words of wisdom. No, instead they bring technology, something we take for granted. Places like Uganda that are in such a to our own people. We live in fear thousands of miles away and are willing to use millions of dollars for precaution, but fail to think of those who lack the resources and have them as their next-door neighbors. Muslims attacking Christians, Christians attacking government, and the government attacking everyone. It seems impossible to avoid bias no matter who you are. That's why so many look to flee as refugees, but of course it couldn't be that easy. The only port for refugees is Turkey, and practically none are able to get through. Aside from that, countries like America are now hesitating to take them in for fear of infiltration. For those non-radicalists, the situation seems like a helpless one, but still, Badel Sakel, a refugee successful in fleeing, believes that one day he and his Muslim brothers can live in peace like they once have. He does not blame the religious unrest and instead hopes and prays that his parents will once again return to the Americas. There is hope in his voice, and using his identity as a Christian in a predominantly Christian country, he manages to bring awareness to the problems facing his true home. As of right now, Uganda lacks any political stability. The laws are biased, elections are rigged, and the people are becoming fed up. In opposition, what was originally a Ugandan rebel force, the Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony, has become a feared organization that has been terrorizing their own people for years, displacing over 2 million people, leaving the Ugandan people, the working class especially, at a stalemate with both their government and any revolution. But not all heroes have capes, or even funny hats. They may not have halos or bring words of wisdom. No, instead they bring technology, something that we may take for granted. Places like Uganda that are in such a vulnerable state are taken advantage of economically by middlemen looking to make a profit, which makes it even harder for the working class looking to rise up and take back their rights. The World Food Program has launched an initiative to provide food, cash, land, and technology to promote self-sustenance.
We are shifting from food aid to food assistance. Through P4P, WFP become a very strong partner for the government in terms of rural development.
This not only ensures that the Uganda people will be stable in time of need, but it also regains their trust in mankind. All over South Sudan, a series of tribal and ethnic fighting has arisen in recent years. Just days ago, nearly 80 people flooded Gambel Hospital after a so-called raid in a nearby village. Coincidentally, or perhaps not, all were injured from bullet wounds, and several other nearby villages experienced very similar crime. Bolchual, 26, says, "If they had come to just take our livestock, why all the killing? They kept following people and killing them after they all had their cattle. With so much mass killing, the people are questioning whether or not the government sanctioned the murders." Those lucky enough to escape, like the Lost Boys, a group of children who traveled thousands of miles to become refugees in the Americas and establish a life, come back to their still torn homes and are forced to accept all that has come from war.
So this is my old home. I think, if I remember correctly, my mom was buried somewhere here. Because I think Blaga Retira. And then go I check it out. Somewhere. So now go to somewhere and then because that would go to somewhere.
The past has been buried in the sand. Qual can't find any sign of his mother's last resting place.
It's long and it's really hard to kind of conceive how. Come where I used to play. And where I used to play and see my family, but now nobody is here.
No, what?
Oh, you know what you want to do? What? What you come?
One. Hello, go pin. Hello, Pachiran. A good team. I think I'm the better. Chỉ là cháu cháu bên có chị cháu có phần nằm run với cái phần cái chân hết à quan rồi
Bạn gái chị.
But as you can see, they do not recognize death as a reason to stop fighting. They see it as a loss, yes, but even more reason to keep foundations like these running. Dr. Chang of the Mercy Malaysia charity witnessed these travesties with his own eyes and assessed them by saying that every day thousands of people go hungry, thousands become ill, and thousands more die. They end up as mere statistics. Yet there they were, smiling, laughing, and reaching out to shake my hand on my arrival with the Mercy team, eagerly greeting me with cries of Assalamu alaikum, which roughly translates to peace be with you. The irony of the greeting is not once questioned by the people, simply because that's all they can wish upon each other. Peace. The Ukraine is facing a large-scale period of political transformation, which most post-Soviet countries have already faced. They have faced 2 revolutions in the past 10 years and only expect more political turbulence. On top of trying to figure out internal issues, the Ukraine is becoming a quote-unquote hostage to Russia on a global level, and patience is dropping quickly for their people. Once again, like the other named countries, the Ukraine has little hope for political justice or revolution. Instead, the people's patience is wearing thin and violence is breaking out. What should be hopeful is that bright young minds like Professor Dmytro Sharangovsky of the Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv, who has not only studied but lived through what was described, still sees peace and reform in the future. He says, "Nevertheless, I stay optimistic about the future of Ukraine in the long run. The number of social initiatives is rapidly increasing, volunteer movements still persist, different social organizations are more concentrated on responsible citizenship, new educational platforms for education and good governance and public administration has been established to form a new generation of professionals. Anti-corruption activities are starting on the grassroots level, and new political parties of middle class are developing." Perhaps the people experiencing the adversity firsthand may never see the progress, but what they really need is people like him to lead, people interested in peace studies and international relationships that can regain the people's trust for a new beginning.